Welcome back. The last thread, the last section today is Agile Software Development. So it's, as always, a pleasure and an honor to introduce Simona Bonghez. She is our next speaker. Simona is the owner of ColorSim Projects, and she's a wonderful trainer and consultant and teacher and friend at the same time. She really believes the games and metaphors are powerful tools for having interactive and enjoyable experience, sharing sessions, thus enforcing the learning process. So Simona will talk today about the journey towards agility. Please, Simona. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to see all of you and happy to be again on this stage. The presentation of today tackles a very specific topic, and it is about adopting or transforming company so that they work in an agile way. And my presentation has two parts, part one and part two. But on the first part, I will somehow tackle more general topics, and I will talk about why we do not have a one-size-fits-all solution for the agile transformation. And then in the second part, I will try to give you some examples, and there are going to be 3 examples on 3 different layers. So let's see what it's all about, this one-size-fits-all solution. Everyone wants one-size-fits-all solution, because it would be, of course, great that you have a recipe and then you take the recipe and apply it in your company and everything works perfectly. Now the truth is that it's not so easy, and we are going to discover together what would be the reason for which we cannot have this one-size-fits-all recipe. And I try to research some of the resources that are existing on worldwide. And I think that the most important resource is the annual survey, which is prepared by Verizon. And in order to see what is the status of the agile implementation today, what are the main blockers in order to allow a company to transform agile, what are the trends, what are the issues in agile transformation, I would clearly recommend you to read this report. The last annual report was a surprise for me, because it was the 3rd year in a row showing the same blockers when we talk about challenges in terms of implementing agile. And now I would like to have your support. What do you think that are the main challenges that somehow block us or challenge us when we would like to implement agile? What do you think? I cannot see you, so what do you think? What are the challenges when you would like to go for agile? Yes, please. Middle management, meaning that they are willing to implement, or okay. What else? What do you think? Yes, please. Micromanagement, which means that we are used to work in a specific way in which we would like to have control all the time, and therefore this is totally against of an agile mindset. What else? Sorry? Time? Come on, time is not a challenge. Yes, please. Yes, especially in software development, when we would like to work in an agile way, and the client says, what is agile, I am not interested, I would like to know exactly when do you deliver and what is the associated cost. All of these challenges that you mentioned, They are, of course, listed, but the three main challenges are: number 3, the inadequate management support. Could be middle management, but it could be also top management. Second, the general organization resistance to change, and this means also the way that we think about managing our time, the micromanagement, and the most important, which was the main challenge last year and the previous year, the culture, the organizational culture, which if we would like to define culture, I think that the easiest definition that comes into my mind is how do we do our stuff around in order to succeed. So it's related to our behaviors, to our way of thinking, to our way of working together. It's related to several patterns that we have in our lives and working behavior. And I think that this cultural thing is the most important factor that differentiates a company from another, a team from another, and which blocks us, which makes our agile transformation journey difficult and not similar to another transformation journey. So it's my topic of today to insist very much on this cultural aspect. And I would like just to mention, in terms of organizational culture, one of the models that I really enjoy because it's simple, it's easy to be understood, and this is William Schneider's model. We have here the companies who enjoy the collaboration, in which our work depends on the others' work, and we enjoy working in teams and communicate, and we are equal, and we enjoy diversity. Then it's also the cultivation type of organizations. In this type of culture, we like to grow and learn together with a purpose, of course. Now we have also the organization, which are mostly oriented towards control. We like to get and maintain the control. And we have also the organization in which the most important thing is the experience, the competence. We have people who are highly skilled, and we value this. Now, of course, that implementing Agile in this type of companies can be very, very different. There is no culture which is better than the other culture. Depending on the nature of our work, one of the cultures could be more suitable for us in our company. And in most of the cases, companies have several aspects that are linked to a specific culture, and then a few others in different quadrants. And companies are encouraging the existence of elements in other quadrants, as long as they support the main culture of a company. Now think about implementing a new way of working in all these types of companies. The end result will differ very much. Maybe in a control type of culture, we will have an agile which is more focused on, maybe a little bit more focused on documentation, on processes, although this is not the main characteristic of an agile implementation, but considering the culture of the company, it could have some more flavor in terms of better defining the processes, more documentation, more traceability. Now, a question for you. Which of the 4 types of culture would easily embrace Agile? Come on. Collaboration, that's the natural environment in which Agile prevails. What would be the next one? Yes, please. Cultivation. Why cultivation and not competence? We are proud on being competent in our job. Can we give the mic, because it's very interesting. And indeed, the second type, could you please ask for the mic? The second type of the culture for which Agile works is cultivation. And now we hear the reasoning.
Okay, so in my opinion, competence means that you are very strict in your way of working, you are very rigid. That means you want things to be clear, you have rules, you have high expectations, and Agile requires a certain level of flexibility of adapting the way you work based on how things work. So it doesn't impose that many rules because the process continuously improves and takes on the feedback and adjusts. But professionalism and the competence one is more strict, and it requires rules to know every single step of the way, where are you.
Exactly, thank you. We have a reward for you, by the way. Each good comment or question is rewarded. Dan, can you hand it over? Thank you very much, I will do the same for you. And indeed, being in a cultivation type of culture, it doesn't mean that we are not professionally good. We are, just the type of the culture is a little bit different. And we have a comment here. Yes, so definitely we do have the level of professionalism that is required, only that we are in a culture in which we value more the fact that we can learn and work together towards a specific purpose, usually social. Yes, definitely. Let's reward the competence. Okay. I just wanted to add something to this element of culture, because we are talking about agile adoption or agile transformation, but what would be the difference? Why do we have these two types of topic, agile adoption and agile transformation? What's going on in those companies that are claiming that they go through a transformation journey? And I think that a comparison would clarify all. Let's assume that you would like to make a coffee. You have no clue how to do it, but you can learn it. Okay? Anyone can learn, except me. But I have my husband. So you can learn how to make a good coffee, and if only a decent coffee is the only thing that you would like to have in the end, this is enough, okay? You have a coffee machine, you know how to work with it, and the coffee is good enough for you. This would be the agile adoption. But if you would like to become a barista, to prepare the best coffee in town for your lady back home, then you go through a transformation. So it's not just the decent coffee that you would like to have at the end, but you would like to have the best possible coffee. And this is the difference between an agile adoption and an agile transformation. Agile transformation means that you are not only good in doing something, but you become better and better, and yourself actually is almost transformed. And if you remember the presentation of last year, which was delivered by a gentleman, Dan Suchu, I don't know if you know him. He talked about this transformation using Dilt's pyramid, if I remember correctly. Okay, so let's see. We agreed that the culture is important in making this transformation or agile adoption challenging. And I prepared for you, in this second part of my presentation, 3 examples. And we will take different levels of culture. We are talking about cultural differences in terms of nations, and then organizational level, so culture at the organizational level, and then at the individual level. One example of each. The first example, you know it. It's about a bank who started in 2015 its Agile Transformation. And it was in Netherlands. So the bank started to check which are the options. And they checked Google, they checked Spotify, they checked Netflix, and they ended up with a good idea. What if we change the whole structure, the whole organizational structure, and we adopt Spotify? We don't care that Spotify is in a different industry, we don't care that Spotify is in a different country. Did ING being successful with their transformation in Netherlands? Yes, they are. According to an article which was issued by ING with the support of the consulting company that took care of this agile transformation, it seems that the transformation was quite successful. It improved time to market, the employee engagement was skyrocketing, and of course what they wanted actually, they increased productivity. Now I would like to make a comparison between the two countries, the country where Spotify works and the country where ING Netherlands works. And I use a specific model of Erin Meyer. She defined 8 dimensions in order to define the cultural differences. I won't go into the cultural topic, but I would like to show to you how close are Netherlands and Sweden from where Spotify comes. There are a few differences. Yeah, you can see the differences. I cannot show you the differences. And I would, maybe let me show you one thing that is very known about Agile. You know that in Agile we talk about self-organizing teams. And in order to be able to self-organize, you really need some competencies. And these competencies are about deciding together, not only working together, but deciding together, and about being able to work together towards the direction you need to move on. Now, if you work in a country as Netherlands or Sweden, we are talking about the third and the fourth dimension, leading and deciding. Which leading could be from hierarchical to consensual, and deciding from top down to consensus again. Question, what happens if we move with this type of organization in Romania? How close is Romania, for example, to Netherlands? And I'm coming up with this challenging question because a few years later, 2 years ago, ING, after the success in Netherlands, decided to implement the agile way of working in Romania. Let's check the culture. So I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm just saying that in order to implement this way of working in a different country, you have to be very conscious about the differences between the two countries. You cannot come with a model which works perfectly in Netherlands and expect to have the same results in a different country, especially when the differences are so big. Will Agile work in ING Romania? Of course that it will, only the challenges are different. And this makes the difference between the Agile implementation. Okay, the second example, and we talk now about the organizational culture level. The example that I am giving is of a software development company that has teams working in Germany, France, and Romania. They started the Agile Transformation in France several years ago. Romania was the second country, and followed by Germany. And there is a specific reason for this. We started the work with the Agile teams in Romania. We started with 2 teams and we ended up with 12 teams. And there is one specific aspect that I would like to share with you. They had this hero type of team members. And you probably can recognize easily the pattern. There are those very high technically competent people who are usually working more or less, but when there is a challenge, when there is a problem, usually before the release, they step in, they work 2 days and 2 nights, kind of frumos, and then they solve the problem. Now, this cannot work in an agile environment. In an agile environment, it's not about a specific person, it's about the team. The team has to work together. And what do you think that happens in such an organization with these hero type of employees when they start the implementation of Agile? There are 2 things that can happen. Help me.
They become managers.
3 things can happen. Okay, that's the... Come on. My next presentation will talk about 3 things can happen. Is the gentleman here? So, they can become a manager. The other 2 things. Well, so I got an answer from here that they resist to the change. Definitely, they resist because the agile way of working is about teams, it's not about a person, and therefore their ego is affected. And the second thing is that they can work in a different agile way. So it's not the agile that is recommended for that specific organization. It's not the agile that works with other teams, but this is a kind of specific which works only for our teams because I am in this team. Is it good for the company? It's not. And therefore, they are threatened, they feel threatened, and they leave. What happened in this type of, in this case, was that some of the highly specialized people left the company. So are you, as a company, ready to lose your best practitioners? This is something that you have to consider when embracing Agile. Either allow them to become managers, I didn't think about it, no. Or you may expect that some of these people will leave the company. They have the opportunity because they are highly skilled. Okay, and the third example is from a totally different area. It's a publishing company, and I don't know if you heard about it. It's LeanPub. They have an interesting way of working. They are selling in-progress ebooks, which means that they have their platform. It's also a writing workflow, so you can start writing your book on their platform, and as soon as you consider that it is ready, the first version of it, you can submit it, and it's for selling. When you buy a book, actually you buy all the next versions of the book. And it's up to you to decide which is the minimum viable product of you, which can go out in order for you to receive feedback. So it's an agile at an individual level. And what do you think that is the main challenge that one person can have when just submitting a non-finished product for feedback, for being sold and for feedback. Yeah, you can think of a negative feedback, definitely. So what is this? This is not complete. It's what else? Definitely you can, sorry, I'm coming back to you. Definitely you can get new ideas. This is actually the whole idea behind this platform, that you can release as soon as possible when you have something meaningful, and you will get new ideas through the feedback. And your comment was, sorry? Yes, you might feel overwhelmed. But let me share with you what was the main challenge of a friend of mine who contributed and who has actually the first Agile book in Romanian language. There is a gentleman, Dan Suciu, I don't know if you heard about him. Yes, he's my friend, what can I say? And what Dan shared with me was the following concern. He was not sure that what he releases is meaningful. Is it enough? It was not enough. Is it perfect? It was not perfect. So should I just put it online, or maybe just add some more thing? And this is something that is very much in the Agile mindset. There is no such thing as a finish line. You decide when you have a release, and then you know that what's the next step is to improve. And I'm talking about release in terms of Agile adoption or Agile transformation. There is no such thing as a finish line. There is only one moment which gives you the opportunity to receive feedback, to see what happened, how it happened, what can be improved, but there is no finish line. Once that you started embracing Agile, this is a never-ending journey in which you would like to become more and more productive, more enjoyable in terms of your work, more engaged in terms of working with your team. And this is actually the main message of my presentation today. We talked about one-size-fits-all solution, which is not the case. Sorry to disappoint all those people. And learning from others from different angles, from different type of cultures, at national level, at organizational level, at individual level, we can see the challenges that will make each of the Agile implementation of the Agile journeys different. And this doesn't mean that they couldn't be successful. They can be successful, only that there are specific factors that need to be considered in order to make it a success. Was it too abrupt? The finish? I can continue. If you would like to know more about Agile, about new trends, about extreme teams, about Agile transformation, we are inviting you to the next event, which is going to be in March 2020. We are coming back with the Mammoths, the Agile Mammoths games, and our topics are going to be related, as always, to Agile. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.